Albert Einstein, imagination is more important than knowledge. Isaac Newton, if I have seen further it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. Marie Curie, nothing in life is to be feared, it is only to be understood. Leonardo da Vinci, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Galileo Galilei, all truths are easy to understand once they are discovered, the point is to discover them. Stephen Hawking, however difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. Charles Darwin, it is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. Socrates, the unexamined life is not worth living. Plato, the greatest wealth is to live content with little. Friedrich Nietzsche, that which does not kill us makes us stronger. Confucius, it does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. Aristotle, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. René Descartes, I think, therefore I am. Thomas Edison, genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Blaise Pascal, the heart has its reasons which reason knows not. Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it's done. Mahatma Gandhi, be the change that you wish to see in the world. Winston Churchill, success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts. Martin Luther King Jr., injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Virginia Woolf, for most of history, Anonymous was a woman. Sigmund Freud, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Khalil Gibran, your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. Jane Austen, it isn't what we say or think that defines us, but what we do. Mark Twain, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Albert Camus, in the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer. Vincent van Gogh, I dream my painting and I paint my dream. Frida Kahlo, at the end of the day, we can endure much more than we think we can. Jane Goodall, what you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. Ada Lovelace, that brain of mine is something more than merely mortal, as time will show. Carl Jung, who looks outside, dreams, who looks inside, awakes. Niels Bohr, an expert, is a man who has made all the mistakes which can be made in a very narrow field. Richard Feynman, the first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool. Simone de Beauvoir, one is not born, but rather becomes a woman. Bertolt Brecht, the womb is a great place to be, but it is not the only place. Albert Schweitzer, success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. Coco Chanel, in order to be irreplaceable, one must always be different. Stephen Hawking, the greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance, it is the illusion of knowledge. Ralph Waldo Emerson, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Leo Tolstoy, everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. Virginia Woolf, a woman must have money and a room of her own if she is to write fiction. James Baldwin, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. George Orwell, in a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. Charles Dickens, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Oscar Wilde, be yourself, everyone else is already taken. Emily Dickinson, hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul. Malala Yousafzai, one child, one teacher, one pen, and one book can change the world. Mother Teresa, spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. Stephen King, books are uniquely portable magic. J.K. Rowling, it is our choices, Harry, that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities. J.K. Rowling, it is our choices, Harry, that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities. Leonardo da Vinci, learning never exhausts the mind. Soren Kierkegaard, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. Henry David Thoreau, go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined. Bill Gates, your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. Steve Jobs' innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. Maya Angelou, you will face many defeats in life, but never let yourself be defeated. Zora Neale Hurston, there are years that ask questions and years that answer. Nina Simone, an artist's duty, as far as I'm concerned, is to reflect the times. Carl Sagan, somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known. Rumi, the wound is where the light enters you. Pablo Picasso, every act of creation is first an act of destruction. Franklin D. Roosevelt, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Buddha, what we think, we become. Confucius, real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. David Bowie, I don't know where I'm going from here, but I promise it won't be boring. Aldous Huxley, experience is not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens to you. Rainer Maria Rilke, let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. Thomas Jefferson, I cannot live without books. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, the heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight. Friedrich Schiller, against the dark background of the past, the light of the present shines brighter. And Frank, how wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. William Shakespeare, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. C.S. Lewis, you can make anything by writing. Hermann Hesse, some of us think holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it is letting go. David Hume, reason is, and ought only to be the slave of the passions. Simone Weil, attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. Octavia Butler, you don't start out writing good stuff. You start out writing crap and thinking it's good stuff, and then you get better at it. George Bernard Shaw, life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. Margaret Mead, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Richard Branson, business opportunities are like buses, there's always another one coming. Albert Einstein, a person who never made a mistake, never tried anything new. Friedrich Nietzsche, he who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Stephen Hawking, the universe doesn't allow perfection. Eleanor Roosevelt, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Pablo Neruda, you can cut all the flowers, but you cannot keep spring from coming. Carl Jung, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Niels Bohr, we must be clear that when it comes to atoms, language can be used only as in poetry. Ada Lovelace, I am more than a mathematician, I am a poet at heart. Walt Whitman, keep your face always toward the sunshine, and shadows will fall behind you. Hannah Arendt, the sad truth is that most evil is done by people who never make up their minds to be good or evil. Carl Sagan, we are made of star stuff. Lao Tzu, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Kurt Vonnegut, so it goes. Elon Musk, when something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. Desmond Tutu, do your little bit of good where you are, it's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. Audre Lorde, I am not free while any woman is unfree, even when her shackles are very different from my own. Zig Ziglar, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Harriet Tubman, every great dream begins with a dreamer. Albert Schweitzer, happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. Brené Brown, vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. Oscar Wilde, the only way to get rid of temptation is to yield to it. Rumi, don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form. Steve Jobs, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Gustave Flaubert, be regular and orderly in your life, so that you may be violent and original in your work. Leonard Cohen, there is a crack in everything, that's how the light gets in. David Bowie, I don't know where I'm going from here, but I promise it won't be boring. Carl Jung, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Margaret Atwood, a word after a word after a word is power. Albert Einstein, logic will get you from A to B, imagination will take you everywhere. Kurt Vonnegut, we are what we pretend to be, so we must be careful about what we pretend to be. Mahatma Gandhi, live as if you were to die tomorrow, learn as if you were to live forever. Helen Keller, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. Bill Gates, it's fine to celebrate success, but it is more important to heed the lessons of failure. Desmond Tutu, if you want peace, you don't talk to your friends. You talk to your enemies. Pablo Picasso, every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once he grows up. And Lamotte, almost all good writing begins with terrible first efforts. Marilyn Monroe, imperfection is beauty, madness is genius, and it's better to be absolutely ridiculous than absolutely boring. Friedrich Nietzsche, in every real man, a child is hidden that wants to play. Henry Miller, one's destination is never a place, but rather a new way of looking at things. Albert Einstein, the important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. Frida Kahlo, I am my own muse, I am the subject I know best.